One of the key events at Macau Grand Prix weekend is the Guia race for touring cars, which this year forms the TCR Asia Challenge and which is about to get underway for its second 9-lap stanza. And the grid is not based on the original plan, which was to have the top 10 Alpha Q2 reversed, because we never got a Q2 with innumerable stoppages in qualifying. The second element had to be binned, and therefore you end up taking the result of yesterday as the race result, which gives you a grid for today. In other words, Felipe de Souza, yesterday's winner, will start on pole position. He became the first ever Macau driver to win the Guia race yesterday, his first win here, but a very popular victor, and he might even be able to do 2 from 2. Hu Heng lines up second on the grid, Chongqi on third, and there is Leung Keng Hei lining up fourth on the grid in the Honda. Fifth is Chang Wei-Tung's Volkswagen, number 42, and then it will be Jason Mock over his shoulder in the Honda Civic. David Addison and Alan Hyde looking forward to what promises to be a really lively race. We've just had the Macau Touring Car Cup, and now for the Macau Guia race, again for touring cars. A double dose of touring car action this weekend to keep everybody on their toes.
And we just enjoyed a touring car race that didn't have too many interruptions. We were blessed with a great battle for the lead, which fortunately went all the way to the end of the race, and that was great to see. Let's keep our fingers crossed that we can have that again. A little wave from Ryan Wong in number 93 before we go back to Zhang Hanbao in the blue number 15 car. The 109 Racing entered car, and a thumbs up. Keep as much air in the car at the moment. Alfa Romeo, only one on the grid. It's the number 45 car of Yu Lung. And a thumbs up from the Alfa Romeo driver.
Number 54 is Samuel Sher with the Lincoln Co., the Geely Group Motorsport built car, regular in the China Touring Car Championship and in Hong Kong Touring Cars as well. And number 7 there is Huang Ruohan with his Audi. He's been a Sirocco racer. He's driven in the China Touring Car and China Endurance Championships this season, along with the Honda Cup. So an experienced driver, and Huang Ruohan ready to go. 28, a man to watch, is Lo Si Hei, who is a long way back on the grid, but will be striving to make progress. He started 12, but was very, very quick across the free practice sessions, and that is Mike Ng, who damaged his Golf in qualifying over the weekend, but bounced back, and again, good to have him on the grid.
Thumbs up for the camera before we go back to the 77 car, which is Uang Zhenwei in the Star Cars Racing Honda TCR. Looking very cool and relaxed before the start of the Guia race. Plenty to go for here. Tanzar Sung in the Z-Speed Hyundai is next, car number 6. And all ready for the camera, and a big thumbs up. 88 next on the grid. Hu Wai Hung in the 326 Racing team, in the Team Prospect Audi.
To a man, they are all delighted to see a camera, aren't they? Andy Yan was on pole position for yesterday's race and really should have been the man to beat, but he threw it away at Lisboa on the first lap. Got going again, but was then given the meatball flag to come into the pit lane to sort out the damage, and so he now has a vast amount of work to do from the 9th row of the grid. He will start 17th, so he's got, as I say, a lot of work to do here.
Eureka de Jesus, you can't miss the car. Number 10, one of the regulars here at Macau in the all-pink Mac Pro Racing Team Honda.
Repaired after its crash yesterday. This was a car that was in the wars yesterday as well, Hu Jiaxin's Star Cars Racing Honda. That's been repaired, ready to go. And at this end of the grid, you're in the people that were in strife yesterday, aren't you? 67 should be next on the grid, Wang Chin Hin's Honda, and then the grid rounded out by number 82, which is Wynn in the 326 Racing Team Audi.
See just how busy it is. So we have on Grand Prix Day all the VIPs and all the guests and all the team members and rather large mascots as well. So it's a very, very busy grid, which now begins to clear, just to leave the officials and the team members that will be responsible for getting the cars started. So the lucky minion eyes on the front of the race winner from yesterday, Felipe de Souza.
He drove well yesterday.
Really well.
Trying to work out where the nearest opposition is going to come from, because in the way that the grid lines up and the relative level across the pack, people like Jason Mott, for example, are quick. They'll be making progress, but among the quickest, say Lo Se Ho, number 28, he's only on the 6th row. He's got a lot of people to get past, and Andy Chang starting even further back on the grid. Andy Yan then in number 3 Honda. He's got a lot of people to pick past before he can really start to attack.
So we've got 9 laps in prospect. We had a 9-lap race yesterday, always the same length over Saturday and Sunday, the touring car races. The remainder of the races have a slightly longer race on Grand Prix Day, 12 laps for the GT cars.
But with these being point-scoring races, the regulations for the championship dictate equal length races, so you can't start to play around with that. But this Sunday edition of each of the touring car races carries the kudos of the actual trophy race, doesn't it? And this for the Guia race, which is another of those very important, very historic awards at the Macau Grand Prix that has been given to WTCR World Touring Car Championship winners over the years, but also the one-off races that we've had in the past, dating back to the Group A days as an example of Super Touring era as well. So can the pole position driver, Felipe de Souza, do the double? Well, potentially the answer is going to be yes, isn't it? Because he was so strong yesterday, and as I've been making the point, the quick cars have got work to do. Lo Se Ho up from 12th and Andy Yan up from 17th then. It's a lot of people to get past.
So we're now in the final countdown to get the formation lap underway. 3 lights remain on the gantry, indicating 3 minutes just under until we can get the cars warmed up around the Guia circuit. 6.2 kilometres twisting around Macau, and it's a circuit that's got absolutely everything. It's got incredibly brave, quick corners, straights, wide. It's got very tight, twisty, technical section as well. All adds up over 6.2 kilometres to give us a unique circuit in the world and a unique race weekend as well. This for the Guia race. Such a prestigious title at Macau, and there have been names that have won this race that are real stars of global touring car racing over the years.
Grid now being cleared. Last few mechanics scampering back to the pit lane. One final formation lap, and then we're going to be in business from this standing start, 1-by-1 staggered grid, of course. So that gives Felipe de Souza on pole position that 1 length advantage over the Gulf liveried, effectively, Audi alongside of Hu Hang, the man that's come from the China Endurance Championship this season. And the TCR Asia Challenge here being fought out as well as the Guia race itself.
That really did feel like the calm before the storm. Went very quiet indeed, didn't it? And if you bear in mind how many spectators there are here, there are plenty. That was just a moment of quiet before the engines begin to rev, and we get a green light on the gantry and a green flag as well. And eventually they get off onto their formation lap. So as much heat into the tyres as is possible. It's interesting actually in the press conference for the previous, the China Touring Car Championship race that we've just enjoyed, Rob Huff saying just how important it is to maintain heat in the tyres behind the safety car. And we do talk about this, but it's a vital part of getting ready for the start of the race.
Well, Felipe de Souza home advantage potentially, leads them round. And the Audi, ran by the champ motorsport team, Felipe de Sousa, who we've seen racing here in the World Touring Car Championship. He's raced in the TCR International Series. He raced in Spa in the TCR 500 event, the long-distance TCR race a few seasons back. So he has spread his wings to race in Europe, and therefore comes back, if you like, with greater experience and greater confidence. But importantly here, he knows his way around this circuit, and he was very much the hero yesterday by being the first Macau driver to win the Guia race. So his first win at the circuit in anything, but his nation in the Guia race as well. Now, has Hu Hang got a problem because he has slowed a little bit in the Audi that's second on the grid, and you can see therefore that Felipe de Sousa, who's not exactly pushing, he's away on his own.
There is a problem, isn't there?
And I just wonder whether that number 95 Audi, the car that should be second on the grid, has got a problem. Well, there is very much a problem for the Hyundai of Tensar Sun, because the Z-Speed I-30 has gone up the escape road at Lisboa, and that must be with a mechanical problem. He's not overshot on the formation lap, but de Sousa is wondering where everybody else has gone.
Yeah, the net result of this is that we've got a leader on his own who is doing what he's meant to do, which is to get as much heat into the tyres. But if he's waiting on the front of the grid for quite a while for the rest of the grid to line up, then all that good work is being lost.
Yeah, and although we're looking at the Hyundai, which I think might be able to get going, of greater concern is the number 95 Audi that would have been, as I say, on the front row of Hu Heng.
Yeah, where is everyone else? Because we just have our pole position driver, our race winner from yesterday, Felipe de Sousa, weaving the car.
You can hear other cars, so they are moving, but possibly got stuck behind Hu Heng, who's trying to get back up on the pace. Right, so Felipe de Sousa serenely moses his way round to the grid.
He must be just glancing in the mirror, thinking, what has happened? Why am I on my own? Am I doing the right thing?
Yeah. What have I missed?
Have I done an Eduardo Mortara?
So Felipe de Sousa coasting his way out of police, up the hill. Still trying to keep the warmth in the tyres as he needs to, ready for the start of the race.
Yeah, just because he's on his own, it doesn't mean to say that he doesn't need to go through the same work that he would normally be doing. But yeah, slightly unusual, this.
Right, there are the rest of them playing catch-up. And I think Hu Heng has got going okay, but just rather badly delayed. San Francisco Hill. So
that's a long way behind.
Pace.
They're a long way behind. They're half a lap behind.
And they're not for hurrying up either, are they? So they're going at their own pace. And so Felipe de Sousa, once he arrives on the grid, will have to sit and wait.
And, yep, good work of getting temperature in the tyres is going to be slightly lost. So, yeah, already heading down towards the final couple of turns on the Guia circuit here at Macau is pole position and race winner Felipe de Sousa. It's got to be the most relaxed formation that he's ever done.
Now that's number 6, which is the still troubled Hyundai of Tensar Sun, which is trying to get going again, but they've given up on this. It's clearly not going to go, so let's just crane it off the circuit.
And that can be done incredibly quickly here at Macau, with strategic, not only cranes outside the circuit and inside the circuit, but also full lift available on some of the recovery flatbed units as well. So they've got it all covered as far as car recovery is concerned, but it's still going to take a few moments.
So the world's slowest formation lap coming to an end. Again, Hu Heng was offline coming out of Fisherman's Bend, suggesting that might not be everything 100% with that car, but we've seen the end of Hyundai number 6. That therefore does not start Tensar Sun out of the race. And gradually the grid starts to take shape, but nobody in any real hurry. And was that Hu Hang coming to the pit lane? I think it was.
I think it was, yeah.
So that rather illustrates why it was a slow lap. Nobody was prepared to overtake him, but he has got a problem and therefore comes to the pit lane. So that means that it's only one car on the front row, and Hu Hang, who would have been second, comes down the pit lane with a problem. So it's a slightly holy grid now. Two cars missing, a Hyundai and an Audi. Felipe de Sousa then lines up onto pole position. Behind him is Chen Chi-on. On the other side of the grid is number 72 Honda. That's the car of Kenny Leung Ken Hay. But Kenny Leung. And the last few trickle into place now. So race director thinking what's taking all the time. Well, all the time was lost really because they were stuck behind a slow car.
And of course checking that that car is now completely recovered from Lisboa. I think it is.
Yeah, it's done them a favour in a way actually, the slow lap, because it's given the marshals a bit more time to clear it. And so the last car in place, the green flag will be shown at the back to say that everybody is now present and correct on the grid. A 5-second board comes to the front. The drivers then look towards the lights. 5 red lights will come on. When 5 red lights go out, the gear race will be underway now. And a good start made by de Sousa. A good start also being made further back by Samuel Cher, number 54, who comes charging up on the inside line there and tries to get fourth on the inside as they dive into the left-hand reservoir for the first time then. But it is going to be Felipe de Sousa that leads the way, chased by number 72, Kenny Leung, and then third as they come down towards Mandarin, Chen Chi-on in number 55.
Kenny Leung got a good start, but he also needs to look at the mirrors as well, because the 55 car of Chen Chi-on is right there in his mirrors. But he was good off the line, was Kenny Leung, and was attacking the back of de Sousa's car. De Sousa has responded. He's got a little bit of a gap for the first time of asking, turning through Lisboa on towards San Francisco. Are they all going to get neatly through here? It's always a bit of a breathe-in moment on the opening lap, but they do. And that's going to be brave, isn't it, to take a place away as they head up towards the narrow section of the circuit.
That was Lo Si Ho, but the door closed, and a big dive there being made by the Volkswagen of Chan Wan Thong, trying to go through on the inside line. So yeah, if you're brave enough to commit, you almost frighten people out of the way, don't you? The other one to look for, remember, is number 3, Andy Yan in the white Honda, but Felipe de Sousa is building that lead with alacrity right now. And a really good first lap this has turned out to be for 42 Chan Wan Thong, then the Volkswagen Golf GTI edging its way forward now, right onto the tail of the Honda Civic of Kenny Leung.
Doing a good job, isn't it? As they continue on their way through the twisty and demanding technical part of the circuit. And we'll head towards the right-hander, catches out so many police, particularly in touring cars. Go a little bit wide on the exit of that corner, and it finishes in the barrier. So too the exits of the second. It comes very quickly into Moorish corner, Moorish Hill, and then onto the left-hander at Donna Maria, up towards the very tight, no overtaking Melco hairpin.
Sousa very close to the wall on the exit there as he's pushing on to try and build a lead. See the Hyundai of Lo Si Ho trying to make progress, but he's stuck in traffic again as the cars then come down through Black Sands up towards the completion of the opening lap of the race into Fisherman's Bend. It is Felipe de Sousa in the lead. Hu Hang was joined in from the pits, incidentally, so we'll see what progress he can make from effectively 20th now in last place. But as they come down towards the end of the lap in fourth, number 55 there, Chen Chi-on having dropped back behind 42, the ball in the hands of Chan Wan Thong. Over the line goes the race leader, and the margin that he's got after just one lap of the race is 4.9, yes, 4.9 seconds. So de Sousa can start rehearsing his victory speech.
It's been a remarkable weekend, and that is a remarkable advantage to have at the end of lap number 1. Just a little look there by the 42 car of Chan Wan Thong. Slots in behind the 72 car. This the battle for second place, and this is going to be good pace carried down into the corner into Lisboa, and yeah, so 2 cars losing places there. Just overshoot. We've got an escape road at Lisboa. It's a far better option
Now, safety car being deployed, but also up into second place has just gone Lo Si Ho. He went through on the inside going into San Francisco. There he is. He was 5th coming into Lisboa. 2 out of the way ahead, and an overtake has put him 2nd. And the safety car is going to put him right onto the tail of the leader. That, I fear, is the Alfa Romeo that has bashed the barrier. So out of the race, therefore, is Yu Long, and that's how he did it. Similar to the accident we had in the earlier GT race, but he's absolutely smashed the left front corner. So Lo Si Ho, from 12th on the grid, is now 2nd in the Hyundai. He was very, very quick in the practice and qualifying sessions. So I reckon that that car is now going to be fighting for the race lead on the restart.
Well, the advantage, the gap that Felipe de Sousa had is, of course, now under safety car control, going to come right down. So I think we rather predicted this for Lo Si Ho before the race got underway, but absolutely spot on with that prediction. From 12th on the grid to 2nd is very impressive indeed. And Opportunist making the most of 2 cars overshooting, contesting 2nd place at Lisboa. Good news is that they didn't hit the barrier down at Lisboa, able to utilise the escape road, rejoin. But the net result of that is that they're all going to bunch up together, and Lo Si Ho, some 2 laps into the race, is going to find himself in a much better position.
Yeah, and Hu Hang is also going to capture the cars, isn't he? Because there's the leader, but everyone will bunch up, and from the pits, Hu Hang is going to be able to catch some of that lost time at least. Right, so a rather grumpy Felipe de Sousa now will see the safety car boards and flags, and then the safety car itself, and slow right down. And Lo Si Ho behind him, you can see, is getting closer all the time. So now we go to safety car conditions, and this really has thrown him a lifeline. But for it to have been an effective one, of course, it's had to do the hard yards from 12th on the grid. So 1 car ahead of him starting from the pits, that gained him a place, but he's done a lot of overtaking to get himself up there. And fastest lap of the race, Lo Si Ho. 55 there, Chen Chion going through in 3rd place. So Audi, Hyundai, Audi, and then in 4th place it is Honda, because 72, Kenny Leung is next. Although the timing screen, yes, it is the Honda. There you've got 93.1, 5th. So down to 6, yes, that's what happened. Number 42, Chang Wang Ton in the Golf, who's going well on the end of the race. That's fallen away now.
So under the control of the Lamborghini Urus, leading the field around. De Sousa knows how important this weaving they're doing now is going to be for the restart, whenever that will happen. I'm feeling they're going to be a couple of laps behind the safety car. It's a double hit for the Alfa Romeo.
So it's the lift, isn't it? It's how easy it is to get it off the road.
The sweeping of the debris is already going to be being dealt with by the many, many marshals that are around the Guia circuit, strategically placed around 6.2 kilometres. Do you think that crane that's on the Lisboa, the purple crane, the mauve crane, do you think that's the biggest crane they've got? Because it's very sizable, isn't it?
Yeah,
it
probably.
looms, and the arm can go right the way down to the entry of the corner.
It would stand to reason that you have your biggest and most used where it is going to be of the most benefits. There's another key crane area. Coming out of Teddy Yip corner. So safety car boards and flags around the circuit. Hu Hang is not going that quickly, really, to do the catching here. There is a jump start penalty for Samuel Scher. I think I said it was a good start when it was deemed to be too good.
Yeah.
So he has copped a penalty. Right there, look, is Hu Hang, who is being caught by the safety car. He has slowed down because of safety car conditions, looking for it, but he's going so slowly, he's about to be passed by the safety car.
He's about to beat the safety car.
Yeah. So he needs to get a wriggle on, or pit and let them all by. Just drop a lap. But this has given him the chance to make up the lap, but he's not really taking the opportunity.
2:54.146 was that fastest lap you mentioned by Lo Si Ho in 2nd place. Car number 28.
But it wasn't really a fair fight, that lap, was it? Because the safety car boards had come out, so people were lifting towards the end of the lap anyway. It wasn't a totally green lap. I think we can go quicker than that.
I think you're right. So, under the control of safety car, it's just gone 1 o'clock in the afternoon here on Grand Prix Day here at Macau for the 69th running of the Macau Grand Prix. It's a warm day, it's sunny, a little bit of cloud in the air. It's humid as ever it is here at Macau. Something like 88% humidity, very, very warm indeed. And 26 degrees and climbing as the day goes on. A treat of motorsport as ever. And then, of course, we have our GT Cup race. That's coming up in at the conclusion of our Wynn Macau Guia race. And then, of course, the build-up to the Sands China Formula 4 Macau Grand Prix. That will include the traditional lion dance when the cars appear on the grid, and so too the very, very colourful lion dance, the wishing of good luck, the blessing, in effect, of the race and the circuit. And we will have, I think, one more lap at least behind the safety car, because although you can lift that car onto the flatbed, the flatbed recovery vehicles don't do particularly impressive lap times. So
no, it's not got far to go. They've also got to just check that the barrier is not affected by a big hit like that as well.
Yeah, it hit twice as well.
Yeah. So
a couple of places to have a look at. Meanwhile, under control of the Lamborghini.
Andy Yan, just quickly to mention now, that's 7th. So it's saying what good progress Lo Si Ho has been making, but also from 17th on the grid, Andy Yan up into 7th place. So again, there's the chance of good progress on the restart here. So two of the gun drivers trying to go forward, given a good chance. But Felipe de Sousa, I suspect, will be able to try and block as best he can. So it's going to be a really interesting restart, this.
Lo Si Ho, the Hong Kong China driver, and Andy Chan, car number 42, and Macau driver. So good to have these driving talents from the region of Macau, all around the area, all competing on what is a motorsport highlight in this part of the world, and indeed globally. You can be pretty sure that those that are around the final Grand Prix of the year for the Formula 1 World Championship will be tuning in at various points over the course of the weekend. They usually do, to see the action from Macau. Very much part of a race weekend from Macau that stars of motorsport all find this weekend absolutely fascinating, and it is.
So Felipe de Sousa leads then this gear race from Lo Si Ho behind the safety car, and then in 3rd place it is the Audi of Cheng Chi-on, 4th the Honda of Kenny Leung, and then in 5th place it is the next of the Audis, that in the hands of Ryan Wong. 6th is where you find the Volkswagen Golf, that's driven by Chang Wang Tong. 7th currently is Andy Yan, 8th Samuel Sher, and in 9th place Huang Ruo Ham, with the top 10 being completed by Jason Mock.
For the second time today, Felipe de Sousa finds himself all on his own at the front. There's quite a gap before the rest of the field comes through. They do now, and they are beginning to catch up onto the back of de Sousa's car. That was almost like deja vu for a moment. Just the Lamborghini, the safety car, and de Sousa on his own.
I think what Lo Si Ho was doing was trying to back off, then he can have a little burst of acceleration just to warm things up again. Possibly thinking this might be the last lap behind the safety car, but it's, as we've been saying, not just a battered car that needs moving, it's also the track surface to attend to as well. Eurico de Jesus goes through number 10 in the pink Honda that was damaged yesterday. That car now in 11th place. Oh, see, Lo Si Ho is getting toey about the restart, flicking it sideways, trying to urge the warmth into the rubber. And now he has caught de Sousa and he's crawling all over the back of him. There's not much he can do from there because de Sousa can't go any quicker. He's stuck behind the safety car anyway. But showing intent is Lo Si Ho.
It certainly is, yeah. And when you do those violent moves to get heat into the tyres, it does the job, but it could also go wrong. So it's a highly skilled operation that they're doing. So too are the marshals in dealing with the fluid that's down on the circuit. 4 marshals working very hard indeed. The flatbed recovery vehicle, the lifting truck, is on its way.
Right, now, how are we fixed in terms of where the cars are on the track relative to whether that sweep-up operation can be completed in time? It might now be that we need one more lap behind the safety car, sadly, but the safety car, look, is absolutely trickling down to try to make this be its last lap, but the cars come down towards the Macau hairpin. So the slower it goes, the more time they're giving the marshals. The lights, I think, are still flashing on the Lamborghini. Yes, they are. But once they've gone past the incident zone, let's see if the marshals are off the track. Then that'll be the indication that we're looking a bit more positive. And the safety car is in at the end of this lap, so the lights will go out. We are going to go back racing. And Lo Siho slows right down. He will accelerate if he's not got a problem up onto the tail of the leader, and he's just been overtaken by Chen Chion, which should not have happened. So Chen Chion needs to give back that place, and Lo Siho has been overtaken behind the safety car. I know he was going slowly.
Like really slowly, though.
Yeah, but Chen Chion needs to give that place back. Lo Siho may argue that he doesn't want to overtake because that might put him in jeopardy of a penalty. So he is now going to sit there, but Chen Chion has definitely overtaken under the safety car. He now tries to give back the place by hugging the inside line and slowing down. But Lo Siho said, no, 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 you've overtaken me, you cop for this. And what this is now meaning is they're going to have to hurry up because the race leader, Felipe de Sousa, has got an absolutely massive advantage while they're prattling about behind him. So Felipe de Sousa storms over the line, goes through, and he's in an absolute race of his own. There's nobody behind him now because the battle not to be second comes up towards the line, and now Lo Siho is prepared to overtake. So through he goes. Ryan Wong gets up the inside, and he's going to go through to 4th place. Chen Chion drops back. So Felipe, drama in the background, big slide into the barriers. There goes the Honda. That is Jason Mock, and that's going to possibly bring another interruption to the race, isn't it? Because he, on cold tyres, lost the back of the car.
Well, let's just analyse what we've just seen. How did these slowing down lots and lots and lots work for you? Not awfully well, because what it did allow to do, they've got another chance now, but what it allowed was this huge advantage for de Sousa.
Andy Yan just gaining another place, you saw there in the Honda. So one up for number 3, the Honda Civic goes through, gains a place. And Felipe de Sousa has, as Alan rightly says, built a huge gap, and that was because Lo Siho tried to slow down so he could burst away with acceleration to warm up the tyres, was overtaken. Chen Chion wanted to give the place back. Lo Siho wasn't prepared to accept that. Jason Mott just got it wrong on his cold tyres, buried his foot to try to drag it round, and then found himself staring at the wall, and kaboom!
Oh dear. That will require a recovery. It's to be behind the safety car. We'll wait and find out. But it doesn't get any easier to watch, does it, when you have a car hitting the barriers at Macau? Meanwhile, we've got a race leader very much on his own, and now having to look in his mirrors because Lo Siho, wow, what pace, has brought down the gap already. There's another car which is off and will potentially need a recovery. It's going to be the number 72 car of Kenny Lowe,
which was well up early on. It was 4th, and that's had a spin before the S's as the Volkswagen goes through of Maitland. So Kenny Lowe trying to rejoin. Rest of the field filing past, but the race leaders then are coming out of the Macau hairpin down towards the end of the lap, and it's game on for the race lead in the gear race. Felipe de Sousa is ahead of Lo Siho. This is lap 5 out of the 9, and although it was a massive advantage, like 6.5 seconds when they started the lap, it's going to be about 6.5 lengths by the completion of it. So de Sousa has been reeled in by the Hyundai.
What pace the Honda driver has shown. Lo Siho making places up working his way up through the grid, and now he's on the tail of the leader, having got back another great big deficit after the safety car period and the rather messy restart and muddle of the restart. But Lo Si-Ho is right on the tail of D'Souza, race winner from yesterday. 2:38.825 for Lo Si-Ho on the previous lap. The 72 car that we described is back on and running. That's good news. So that car's not going to require a recovery. That car will.
Hence the safety car for the second time has scooped them up, as you've seen. And so that brings Lo Si-Ho back into the mix. He was there anyway, but when the safety car all were out at the end of the lap, so of course everybody files through in formation. That is Eureka de Jesus coming towards us, being chased by the Zhang Hanbiao 109 Racing Cupra. So D'Souza still leads, but we're on lap 6. How many laps can we get out of this? Lo Si-Ho right there behind him. So there'll be this lap, maybe one more. We still probably can get 2 racing laps out of it, can't we?
Yes. Yeah, I think perhaps can, which is not good news for Felipe D'Souza. I would imagine you'd like this race to finish behind the safety car, because the speed that Lo Si-Ho was carrying makes him look really rather on for the top step of the podium in the gear race.
But D'Souza can block, he can defend, and although Lo Si-Ho has got the speed, D'Souza has racecraft, and if you can use that and put the car where it needs to be to defend the advantage, makes life much, much more difficult. Now, Andy Yan is becoming a hero as well. We're getting excited about Lo Si-Ho, but also Andy Yan, 17th he started, 3rd he now runs. He's been chipping away, gaining places. We saw him do more of it down at Lisboa. He has taken with him Ran Wong, and then it's Huang Ruohan in 5th place, and Samuel Sher with his penalty running in 6th. And Chen Chion, after his contribution to the confusion under the safety car, fell back into 7th place. He got mugged off the line, didn't he, and lost more ground.
Yeah, that was a strange restart, wasn't it? A very unusual restart. And as D'Souza continues to weave the car, trying to keep the temperature in the tyres, it's certainly going to be another lap for this one. The safety car, the second intervention for the safety car during this Wynn Macau Guia race for 2022. 69th running of the Macau Grand Prix this weekend, and the unique TCR Asia Challenge here at Macau under the control of the safety car.
So 5 laps are in the book. And Lo Si-Ho with the fastest lap of the race in his efforts to get up from 12th to 2nd, Andy Yan 17th to 3rd. So 2 drivers that were in strife yesterday down at Lisboa. Was it on the opening lap of the race that Yan spun and Lo Si-Ho spun in sympathy? And they were both very badly delayed, so they've got work to do today. Of course, had we had a Q2, then it would have been a slightly better position on the grid for both of them. But as we didn't have a Q2 because of stoppages throughout the qualifying period, hence we had to go to the alternative way of forming a grid, which is based on the results of yesterday. Out of Donna Maria they turn, and still weaving around to generate a little bit more warmth as best they can and keep up the tyre pressures, ready for the restart. The safety car turns now down through the Melco hairpin, but it's coming out of reservoir that the incident for Jason Mott occurred, and that's where therefore the clear-up operation is, and as you can see, at least one more lap.
Yeah, I was going to say we haven't seen the recovery for a while, so we weren't too sure whether we were going to get a restart on this lap. Clearly not. The car still in place, however the lifting equipment is now in place, so one more lap at least. I think it probably will be one lap. They're pretty good at controlling the pace of the safety car from race control, aren't they, to give them the maximum amount of racing laps. But yeah, there'll be one more lap. Still important to weave the cars, and I'm rather looking forward to this restart.
Well, as long as it's a little tidier than the last one, it'll be quite something, won't it? Because Felipe D'Souza is going to have to work very hard on the restart lap. But the way that Lo Si-Ho was able to catch him up so easily is certainly proof of how quick that Hyundai is.
Yeah, I thought the race was over. D'Souza was well ahead. Well ahead.
Yes, we were joking earlier, weren't we, about him preparing his victory speech because he built up such an advantage.
Yes, we were.
But It's going to be a different story now, that's for sure.
Is that lots of fluid I can see there?
Oh, probably. It might just be a heat haze, but possibly some fluid has been spilt from the Honda.
I think there might be. And it runs across the track, I think. So something else that maybe needs to be addressed before we can get racing back underway. Actually, right, it might be just a heat haze there. It's a warm day, 26 degrees and rising. 1 in the afternoon here at Macau in the sunshine for Grand Prix Day, the 69th running of Macau Grand Prix. That to look forward to. At local time, 3:30 for the Sands China Formula 4 Macau Grand Prix. Heading into this world famous corner at Lisboa Hotel, and then on to San Francisco.
The climb up the hill as the variety on the grid all files past. In other words, Honda, Audi, Lincoln Co, Cupra, Volkswagen. I was going to say Alfa Romeo, but it's the Alfa that we lost and triggered the first safety car period. And one of the Hondas has triggered this second one, Jason Mott hard into the barriers. Driver in second place, Lo Si-ho, to report to the race director immediately after the race. Now that might well be his actions under the safety car dropping so far back and causing that confusion.
Well, I think you have to keep up, don't you? Is that a basic requirement of a safety car restart?
To keep up, stroke, keep within so many lengths of the leading car.
Yeah.
Car ahead. So it's interesting that it's going to be a discussion after the race rather than an in-race penalty, if there is anything that he has to answer for.
Yeah.
But
yeah, because
the story continues.
Presumably there could be, no, I'm sorry, I had a technical problem with the car, and that could be backed up with data from the car, and various presentations could be made, can't they, to the stewards.
So even if Lo Si-ho takes the win, the story may not be over, is what we're suggesting.
No.
Which is a shame, because we don't like necessarily to see races decided hours afterwards, or weeks afterwards, or months afterwards in stewards' offices. Right, there is what's left of the Honda being put on the back of the recovery vehicle.
They do a remarkable job. We say it all the time about the various staff that work around the Guia circuit here at Macau, but they're well used to it. They know what the challenge is ahead of the weekend, and they can recover these cars very, very quickly. Huge amount of not only people that are involved, marshals and track officials, all of those kind of things, but also a lot of equipment as well. The cranes around the circuit and the lifting equipment vehicles, the recovery vehicles, they are strategically placed to be triggered, scrambled from any point around the circuit. The whole process can be done pretty quickly, but can't be done in a miracle. It does take a little while, and that's close to a miracle, isn't it? Getting the car now onto the back of the recovery vehicle. It's heat haze, isn't it? It isn't fluid. That's good news.
Yeah, so we might be able to go racing this. No, it's just a bit too late, isn't it?
Maybe, yeah.
The safety car doesn't really have time to turn off the lights and dive in, and the message go to the drivers. So,
no, lights still on.
Yeah, shame that, because it was almost perfectly timed.
Very, very close.
Yeah. Right, so this will be the end then of lap number 7.
So they're going on to the penultimate lap.
Yeah, so it's going to be a one-lap dash, isn't it?
A one-lap sprint for the Wynn Macau Guia race. What could possibly go wrong?
Well, indeed, there is a touring car saying, I've heard, in the British Championship, safety cars breed safety cars. Well, we've had it here, but with only a lap to go and the Guia race on the line, safety cars breed who knows what.
A very exciting final lap.
Yeah, indeed.
I think we'll leave it there. So, with the car recovered, well, certainly on the back of the recovery vehicle, the Lamborghini will pick up pace, I reckon, on this lap to allow them to heat up the tyres, get them back up to race temperature, and then it's going to be a one-lap sprint for the checkered flag for what is an extremely prestigious title, winner of the Wynn Macau Guia race. If you look through the drivers that have won this race in the past, they are the greats of touring car racing for their eras. We look back, Andy Prio, Alain Menu, Rob Huff, of course, and so many huge names. Frank Bieler, Winkelhock, Emanuele Pirro. Yeah. So many names on the Guia trophy. And to add your name to that trophy this afternoon is going to be the result of one lap around the Guia circuit.
And it's going to be between Felipe de Sousa, Lo Seho, and let's not ignore Andy Yan out of all of this. He is there in third place, knocking on the door of a Guia race win. So 3 for the lead going on to this final lap. And in a way, although we talk about one lap, really, it's perhaps going to be decided by Lisboa, because after that, it becomes so hard to overtake anywhere else for the bulk of the lap. But really, that's where the work has got to be done. And for Lo Seho, yes, he's quick. Yes, he's going to be right there on the back of the leader. But he's also got to defend.
Can I just add to the names on the Guia trophy? Tim Harvey in 1989. And Tim, your co-commentator of the British Touring Car Championship. And I watched the race the other day. Boy, did those Sierras skip around on the Guia circuit. Absolutely wonderful. And I think it was Tim that posted the video of that particular race. It was superb. Look at it on YouTube if you get the chance, everyone. It's a great race. Some brilliant names there, aren't there?
And also, of course, it illustrates how the regulations for touring cars internationally have evolved over the years, you know, to go from Group 2 to Group A, then to Super Touring, then ran as a sort of production saloon race for a time, and then to the World Touring Car Super 2000 regulations, and then TCR, and that's what we have now for this one-lap dash. Felipe de Sousa ahead of Lo Seho, ahead of Andy Yan, and the safety car then will dive for the pit lane, and let us see whether or not history can be made to go onto that list of winners. A driver from Macau, Felipe de Sousa, won yesterday's race. Can he win today's race as well? There behind him is Lo Seho, and it is going to be Andy Yan in third, Ran Wong fourth as they head towards our bend.
Yeah, so the cream does really rise to the top. You predicted a couple of great runs through the field for Lo Seho and Andy Yan, and you've got what you asked for, because they're in second and third places respectively. The Lamborghini pulls off. We are racing again at Macau.
So Felipe de Sousa leads, 1 lap to go, 3 for the lead. And the Audi instantly covers off the inside line. The Hyundai, Lo Seho, thinks about the outside down towards the left at Reservoir Bend. Can't do it there, but he's got the speed and he's got a toe now coming down towards Mandarin. But de Sousa, look, with his circuit knowledge, covers off the inside line. The Hyundai tries the outside, and Andy Yan gets a toe as well. So he pulls away from Ran Wong, and he's right there on the back of the Hyundai, which now gets sideways, and he's off in the barriers in spectacular fashion. Lo Seho's car is destroyed. He's hit again by Ran Wong, who had nowhere to go. He's hit again by other traffic. The road is virtually blocked, and on the last lap of the race, the red flag comes out. Andy Yan had got the race lead coming into Lisboa, but it will go back a lap, and Felipe de Sousa will take the win. And in the barriers, Lo Seho, did he get a tap from behind? In a way, it doesn't matter, because the outcome is a smashed car and a win for Felipe de Sousa.
A very destroyed car. Yeah, that really is a sad sight to see. Let's have a look at it again. Well, impossible to say from here, but the absorption of the energy and the disintegration of the car is a sad sight to see, isn't it? And then there's another hit, an unavoidable hit coming for the car.
Yeah, Ran Wong saw it all ahead of him, but just didn't know which way to go, I think.
There was nowhere to go, was there?
Just piled in.
Yeah.
Well, that's not the last lap shootout we wanted, I'm afraid to say. And Lo Seho, the unfortunate victim in all of that. And it is very hard to know whether Andy Yan tagged him or not. If he didn't, it was very close, but that's not to make him the guilty party.
Okay, well, to look at the front of the car,
It's okay,
it
doesn't it?
looks okay. Yeah, so maybe not. They're carrying a huge amount of speed in there. It's on potentially cold tyres. It's or cooler tyres. But that is the net result of what we have just seen on the restart. Really sad to see so many cars stricken out on the circuit.
The race, of course, will not be resumed. That's the end. That's the result. So Felipe de Sousa wins from Lo Sejo and Andy Yan in third place. But it is going to be quite some time before the road is clear for the next race. There will be a podium, but whether it's going to have 3 drivers on it will remain to be seen, because Lo Sejo will have to go to the medical centre for a checkup after that hit, and there'll be some discussion, no doubt, about what went on as well.
Yeah, for sure. And so, yeah, therefore it's slightly difficult to work out who we are going to see on a podium.
I wouldn't be surprised if the podium were completely abandoned, actually,
Yeah,
because
I think you might be right.
Lo Sejo had to go and see the race director anyway. Now, rather more concerningly, is to make sure he's okay.
Yes.
And the main focus is going to be to get the circuit clear with 2 more races still to come. Real shame. I know you've been saying, Alan, all weekend Macau can bite, and often the races are interrupted. But of course, at that part of the circuit, you know, elsewhere around the lap, there are accidents that, for want of a better word, can be clumsy. Somebody understeers into a barrier, blocks the road. They're relatively low speed, but they're very fast part of the circuit, and that was, as you've seen, a big hit.
It was, and the lights flash for Felipe de Sousa. Won the race yesterday and is going to be delighted. He's a Macau driver. He's at the Macau Grand Prix. His name is going to be on the list of winners for the Wynn Macau Guia race here on home soil, and for that reason it's going to be a jubilation tinged with a little bit of disappointment, because that scene is not a scene that anyone is going to enjoy looking at. That's a very big accident down there. Andy Yan appears down in Parc Fermé.
He'll be really frustrated. Sorry to interrupt you, but you know, he just got the lead on that last lap, but it counts for nothing as you go back to the previous lap. So disappointment for Andy Yan.
To disconnect. There we go.
He can't hear you.
No, I know, but
just because he's plugged in doesn't mean he's listening to you.
Once the sound engineer, always the sound engineer. I can't help myself. So I'm feeling sorry for the cable more than anything.
Right, okay.
It's not good for it.
First world problems. Right, there's Felipe de Sousa. He'll be absolutely beside himself. Great effort to hang on in there. So the scrutineers are able to assist. And we don't have, of course, the second place car. There's not much of it left.
But you can't stop a celebration for a local driver that is about to write his name into the history of the Macau Grand Prix. And celebration comes in Parc Fermé. Go on. It's expensive.
Exactly.
Really expensive to get on the roof of a car. And I think quite a few touring car drivers have realised that over the years. Not only that, it's not easy to get down off the roof once you're there.
Not with any grace.
No.
No.
The best manoeuvre is a slide down the windscreen.
Yeah, I think
that's
you're right.
always the way.
So drivers going to the medical centre just to be checked. Drivers here going to the scales to be weighed, which is all part of the process. The car has a weight, the driver has a weight, and the combination has to be at a given minimum.
Probably Felipe de Sousa is getting an update as to what exactly happened on that last lap. Off comes the hands device. But for a Macau driver to be on the top step of the podium at the home race, well, that's something special. And I think the face rather says it all, doesn't it? getting congratulated in Park Fairmate.
Yes, we've seen him race in the Grand Prix in the past, but mainly in the touring car races. He had 3 seasons in the Formula 3 race, raced, as I was saying earlier on, in TCR, both in Asia and in one-offs in Europe. And explanations about what's gone on out on the circuit.
Yeah,
Felipe
plenty of
D'Souza
stories to
heading
be
the podium.
told from different perspectives. Drivers will have quite a different view of exactly what went on the circuit.
So a race win for Felipe D'Souza from Lo Seho and Andy Yan. Ran Wong also involved in the accident, 4th, and 5th to Hangruo Chen with Samuel Shear 6th, but he's got a time penalty to be factored in as well. So some very broken cars, which is a real shame because we'd had some very spectacular racing and it was all building up nicely for a great finish in the Wynn Macau Guia race, ultimately, that went the way of Felipe D'Souza. So the winning margin, such as it was, 0.2 of a second. That's how close they were when they went on to that last lap. But Felipe D'Souza, the race winner. So for Felipe D'Souza, race win. Lo Seho classified 2nd, although he was meant to be going to see the race director. That'll have to wait until he has been to the medical centre. And then Andy Yan 3rd. Just again, looking at the replay and the highlights of the incident, it's still very hard to gauge whether there was contact between Lo and Yan. Might have been, but very, very hard to gauge. But right now, what's left of cars are being retrieved, the circuit is being treated, the barriers are being attended to as well. One of the big quirks in all that was Ran Wong, who didn't really seem to know which way to go, and by the time he got to the incident zone was left with no option but to pile into Lo Seho's Hyundai. But equally, the speed they're going at, Alan, it's a very different situation from watching pictures. It really is,
yeah, they're incredibly quick around there. They've just restarted. The tyres potentially might not be up to full temperature. And, yep, you come around the corner and everything unfolds really rather quickly. But, yeah, 2 very, very big hits for the 28 car. And as far as the car is concerned, that is the net result. And there is very little left of the Lo Seho car.
But as long as the survival cell has protected the driver, its job is done. But that is history, that car, isn't it?
I'm afraid so, yeah. Never good. Never good to see a car so badly damaged. 2 hits. And the unforgiving barriers of Macau make fairly light work of a touring car. And that's rather proof of it. Great shame, disappointing to have a finish like that for the Wynn Macau Guia race. But Felipe D'Souza can be very pleased with the work that he's put in over the course of this weekend. A win yesterday and a win today.
So 2 of the 3 drivers will be making their way to the podium. and we've not been told there is not to be a podium, but clearly it won't be the complete one, so we will await confirmation as to the podium process, and also, of course, there'll be a moment or two yet before the circuit is clear for the final GT race of the weekend for the Galaxy Entertainment GT Cup. So there is going to be a podium at the end of the Wynn Macau Guia race. The clear-up operation continues after that massive hit for Lo Si-ho, who is classified in second place. Of course, the regulations permit you to keep your place in the results, even if you were not running at the time of the red flag or the cause of the red flag. It's only a British regulation that takes you out of the results if you are notionally the cause of the stoppage, which is why you've had people like Lawrence Van Thor winning a race upside down, or
I was thinking
in this
exactly
case,
that. Yeah.
Lo Si-ho taking second, even though he didn't actually finish the race. So we'll go to the podium in a moment. Of course, at least we know 2 of the drivers will be there, but that podium ceremony will be getting underway very shortly.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The podium for Wynn Macau Guia Race TCR Asia Challenge. Third place driver, number 3, Yan Chak-wai.
So Andy Yan makes his way onto the third step of the podium.
Second place driver, number 28, Lo Si-ho. And our winner for this race, number 26, Felipe Clemente de Souza.
And
congratulations.
Macau driver onto the top step of the podium. Second place vacant for Lo
National
Si-ho.
anthem for the winner.
A hugely proud moment for Felipe de Souza on the top step of the podium. And next, the trophy presentations that are brought out. So too,
May I invite
the podium
Mr.
girls.
Cedric Luvisito, Chief Operating Officer and Executive Director of Wynn Macau Limited, to present the laurel to our third place driver, Yan Chak-wai.
So Frederick Livasotto, Chief Operating Officer and Executive Director of Wynn Macau Limited, presents the
May I now
garland
invite Ms. Linda
and the
Chan,
trophy.
President and Executive Director of Wynn Resorts Macau SA, to present the trophy to our third place driver, Yan Chak-wai. Congratulations.
and
Ladies
Linda
and gentlemen,
Chen.
may I now
The trophy.
invite Mr. Alan Lau, Deputy Coordinator of the Macau Grand Prix Organizing Committee, to present the trophy to our winner, Felipe de Souza, number 26, local
So,
driver.
Alan Lau, then,
Congratulations.
Deputy Coordinator of the Macau Grand Prix Organising Committee, presents the winner's trophy.
get closer to the
A long
middle
kiss
for a group
on the
photo.
trophy from Felipe de Souza, and holds the trophy up for the applause
Let's
of
get
the
closer
crowd.
to the middle for a group photo.
And presenters and both of the drivers will get together on the top step of the podium with their trophies posing for the photographs.
Thank you to our trophy presenting guests.
And the presenters will leave the podium, offer their congratulations to
our drivers
the
again.
two drivers, and there will be
Ladies and gentlemen, champagne time.
2 bottles of champagne will make their way onto the podium. One for Andy Yan, one for Felipe de Souza, and a last photograph opportunity on the top step of the podium with their podium garlands and their trophies as well. And then let's see if we get
Congratulations again.
a champagne shower on the podium. Certainly Andy Yan is keeping that rather nice bottle of bubbly
That was our
for
podium
later
for
on,
Wynn
and so
Macau
too
Gear Race TCR
is
Asia
Felipe
Challenge.
de Souza, which concludes the podium for the Wynn Macau Gear Race TCR Asia Challenge. And Felipe de Souza, Macau driver, proudly with the Macau flag above the #1 spot on the podium. So that's our podium presentation for the Wynn Macau Gear Race. And next, our attention will turn to GT cars at Macau, and that will be for the Galaxy Entertainment Macau GT Cup. Longer race today, 9 laps yesterday, and a 12-lap race. Before